Did you know that more than 90% of you are not subscribed? Let's fix that. Those are rookie numbers. Alright, we're back with another music reaction. Been a little bit since I've done one of these, you know, these are kind of some of my favorite videos to kind of just record, not necessarily maybe to edit or whatever, but we're here, we're chilling, listening to music, and it's my chance to just sort of showcase to you all just the kind of music that I listen to, and that I absolutely recommend that you listen to. Before we get too deep into this, I will say, in the event that some of the stuff I listen to gets copyrighted and maybe has to be filtered or just cut down just so that I'm able to actually upload this video, head over to my Patreon, link in the description, to be able to completely listen to this unfiltered. Again, only in the event that it does get copyrighted. If not, then we're good. We have an interesting variety of songs we're going to listen to today, but for the most part I would say they fall under the category of kind of darker themes. This first one I would say is the most upbeat of all of them. It's from a series that I'm currently going through right now and I will be covering on the channel soon once I'm finished. That is this song from the series The World God Only Knows. I like this first part because it's very like condensed, and I thought that was the quality of this video, but like then we go into this part. This song it's pretty short, but this first part, I think that part works perfectly for this kind of character. The character of Shiori, who's like this introverted girl, just librarian. And slowly through the course of this part of the story, our main character is trying to help her come out of her shell, in a way. Again, I don't want to spoil too much about this show, because I'm going to be making a review about it soon, and I'll talk more about it there. But in terms of the music here, I think it's perfect, because it's like shy, I would say. It's quiet. And then it slowly gets louder and louder. It becomes more clear. And then right at this part, slight spoiler, but obviously you could probably guess from this kind of music, like right when we hit that crescendo point, there's a big event that happens with these two characters, and that's sort of just like the final push that this character needs. Yeah. Normally when I watch anime, sometimes it'll take me a little while to get into a story, but sometimes if there's like a really good song like this, like it doesn't necessarily have to have lyrics or anything, a good OST, then suddenly something will switch in my brain where it's just like, oh no, I love this now. And honestly, it was this song when it happened in this episode, like I just sort of had to stop and be like, ooh, let me take this in. The World God Only Knows, the first two seasons I think are really good. I'm delving into season 3 and stuff right now. Again, I'll cover more about the whole mess that is when I do my review eventually. But yeah, I would say this is the best song from that show. The OPs and EDs are also really good as well. That was the one happy song, I guess, that was on this playlist that I made. And now we're gonna go into a song that is from a show that I recently covered, that being Monster. This is the main theme of the main antagonist, Johan. And I think this is still my favorite theme from the show. Because right here it just starts so calm. Like emotional almost, but then it's building. Here we go. The main melody of this. Dun, dun. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my review for Monster that I did a little while ago. It's such a good show, man. And the music absolutely just added so much to just the tension and the horror. And of course, this is like the main theme for the main antagonist. Kind of has like that Jaws thing to it. It's like sometimes this will play without Johan even being on screen. Like every time that like first part here, like that just forced you to like sit up in your seat and just be like, wait, what? Shit's going down. Dude, this Monster is just such a good series. Then it kind of goes into like this softer part, but for me it's just this, yeah, most replayed. Yeah, I talked about it a little bit, just like, yeah, it kind of has like that Jaws thing of like a simple just dun dun dun. There's a monster on his way. But speaking of more like horror themes, so this is a theme from Death Note, obviously, but it's Kyrie 2, which Kyrie, if you don't know, is the main theme for Ryuk, which this is what the main theme sounds like. Of course, very beautiful. Beautiful and haunting, which, yeah, that's sort of the idea of the Shinigami in Death Note. But this version of the theme, I don't remember when in the show this actually played, because obviously it did play at some point because this is part of the original soundtrack, but I think I like this version more. It's just because like yeah, in the original one, it's sort of just like one male voice, whereas in the other version, it's a lot more different ranges of voices. And this version kind of sounds more like a live arrangement as opposed to a studio one. I do kind of like when there's a vocal part in these kind of soundtracks. It's when they do like the out of sync, that, because like that adds that level of like realism to the music, just like that slight, just the soul, and even there. But I think that one's intentional. If any Death Note fanatics out there could let me know, like, when this actually played in the show. I don't remember. Like, I remember because I discovered this version of the theme and I thought it was like a cover, but it's like, nope, this is part of the original soundtrack. But they're just like adding the like female voices, and then there's still like that main male voice to like Kyrie. But there's also like the deeper bass and low tenor voices in the background, sort of like an echo of his voice. And there's even like a female section here. And then they jump back in, and it's combining the two. It's sort of just like chaos. I guess this is probably me putting a little too much into it, but it kind of can be seen as like the male voices can kind of represent more of like light, and then the female voices can sort of more represent L, maybe. And it's sort of just them like coexisting and harmonizing, but there's still that tension. That harmony right there. Beautiful theme, dude. I think I like that even better than the just normal one. That's just so good. Holy shit, I love that. Going from that to a show that I've never watched before, but I think this is a really good theme just because like I've heard it used and stuff, and I finally found the original one. It's a theme from Naruto. You couldn't tell by now. I'm a big fan of like loud orchestral music and also just like mixing of choir in there. Again, I've never watched Naruto, but from what I've seen, this plays like around like Pain arc or whatever. I'm familiar with some of the stories in Naruto, but obviously I've never watched it in its entirety before. But this is still a theme I listen to. Very angelic, but also scary. Kind of deceptive. I almost want to hear a version of this without the other instruments and kind of just the voices. I feel like the voices carry this. I'm not even like listening to like the bell and some of the piano in the background. Man, who needs church when you got this? Such good usage of voices in that. One of these days I will watch Naruto. It's one of the ones that's like, yeah, I will watch it at some point. I know that for a fact. Probably still won't be for a little while. Alright, another dark theme. Also kind of heroic in a way. It depends on how you look at it. The main theme of Eminence and Shadow. If you haven't already, check out my Eminence and Shadow review that I did a long time ago. It's one of the most viewed videos on my channel for some reason. I told the story in that of just like when I first was watching the show. Like the first episode, I was like, alright, this is pretty decent. Going into the second episode, I was like, I don't know. But then this theme played and I was like, oh no, I'm sold. I'm into it now. Especially this part. I'd love to learn to actually play this on piano, that'd be so cool. I remember we had to wait like a long time before this soundtrack was actually released. Like for a while I was just listening to like remixes and like remakes that people have made of that theme, which were still pretty good, but then the real one finally came out and I was like, oh yes. It's like this part's heroic, but like in this story it's not like Shadow's a hero. So beautiful. Kenshiro Suehiro is definitely a composer that's now on my radar because of Eminence and Shadow. If you haven't already, definitely check out Eminence and Shadow. It's, like, don't get me wrong, it's an I'm 14 and this is deep kind of show, but it's still kind of fun. There's enough, like, new stuff, I would say, in it that's kind of, that you wouldn't expect going into this kind of show. That makes it a fun experience, and I definitely recommend it. You know, it's dark, it's even kind of funny, and just the music as well. Like, not even just this scene, the soundtrack as a whole is muy perfecto. Alright, going into the last couple ones here. I mean, the last one we'll cover is going to tangentially take us to a bunch of different ones, but this is the last kind of one-off one. Evangelion, man. I also made a video covering Eva a long time ago as well, because it wasn't until literally not even a year ago now where I watched Eva for the first time. When I was going through the rebuilds in anticipation for 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time, when I got to 2.0, there was this theme that played and I was just like, whew, man. It just goes to show, just like so long as a series gives me like one new theme or something I can latch onto and listen to, it's like I'm gonna remember it forever. And this was definitely that one for 2.0. The music in Eva isn't necessarily something I think about when I think about like, oh yeah, Evangelion. Like obviously when you think Eva music, the first thing you think of is like Sangoku na Tenji no Hide. But like the other themes in the show, I don't really think about. This is like the first one that actually like caught my attention. Just because it's like heroic, but sad at the same time. I mean, that kind of theme would work for, obviously, Shinji and just Eva as a whole, because it's not necessarily a happy series, but there are hype moments, obviously. Eva, man, it's still one of the series that, even though Eva may have a reputation for you, even if you haven't watched it, as someone who was like that, it's like, yeah, Evangelion, it's great, even though I haven't watched it. Like, once you finally watch it, it changes everything. Just your perception of just mecha anime and just anime in general, honestly. This theme kind of reminds me of this theme from Demon Slayer, which this is a theme I covered in the first anime music reaction. More this part. Obviously different, but just like it kind of took me to that kind of moment. Just whenever that voice comes in. Just that angelic choir. It's a simple melody, but it gets the job done. Listen to that, it's like, oh man, I want to watch Ava again, but then I remembered it, and I'm like, I think one time was enough. Obviously, Ava's really good, but I'm just like, I don't know if I want to go through that mental stuff again. At least not for a little while. Alright, now that was pretty much all the one-off stuff done. Now we're going to spend a little bit talking about one of my favorite series of all time. Probably my favorite series ever in terms of anime. Dragon Ball. Specifically, some music that kind of goes unsung nowadays. That being the music from DBZ Kai. And this is one that I've kind of been listening to recently, sort of rewatching the Frieza saga of Kai, because for me personally, that's the best version of the Frieza saga. Now, Kai's music is give and take for some people. I get that. For some people, it's like really boring. Obviously, if you compare it to like Falconer's non-stop music in that version. And obviously, with this score, it was very limited back in the day. Like, they had like a handful of themes that they would just reuse every episode. But I still think some of those themes are really good. But for this one, when I think of like the Frieza saga for Kai, this is one of the themes I think of. I think this theme perfectly encapsulates like the fear and like terror of Frieza that's just always there while they're on Namek. Especially this part. And this crescendo. It's mainly that part. Like, the rest of the theme is fine, but it's mainly just that, like, violin string section there. And going into a more sort of upbeat theme from Kai. I think this one ultimately, all the way through, is my favorite. I think mainly because, like, one of the most iconic scenes I think of when this plays is when Goku first fights Frieza. The Braveheart challenges the strong, you really feel that. Another scene I sort of think of is when Gohan like blasts third form Frieza. And of course, Goku going ×3 Kaioken against Vegeta. The list goes on, just again, because like these themes were reused a lot throughout Kai. But every time I played, it just always hit. For me, at least. Oh, and of course, how could I forget? It plays when Goku fights Jason Birder. More specifically, when he beats Birder. Like this little calm part. Just holding up Birder as he catches him. Again, say what you want about Kai and even its music, but I think that the music is insanely solid and still some of the best that the series has ever seen. Alright, well, that was just a couple themes I wanted to, you know, sit here and listen to for this music reaction. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know any sort of themes that maybe you want to recommend to me for future reactions for either video games, more anime, whatever else. And stay tuned for many other videos that will be coming soon on the channel. Until next time, I'm Lancer. Thanks for watching.